Most apps need data to work with. In Zoc, data can be used for two different purposes. One is to display the information to the user. For example, in this case, we can show the customer name and the phone number. The second one is to store the information that is collected by the user during the execution process. For example, when I collect a signature from the customer, I would want to store the signature in certain data points so that I can see it in the reports at a later point in time. So how do we work with data? Zoc provides something called data fields. You can consider data fields as a database for your app. By default, we provide a set of data fields which are system related. For example, you can ask what is the ID of the task that I'm actually executing, or who is the user that the task is actually assigned to. Similarly, you also get access to the person who is executing the task. What is his ID, what is his name, what is his current location, what is his phone number, etc. When you want to create a custom data field, all you have to do is click on the new data field and you can create your own. For example, let's say we want to create a field for customer name. So the user is going to the customer's location to do certain tasks. The user needs access to the customer name and phone number so that they know who they are talking to. So in this case, we'll create a new field called customer name. We have certain data types to choose from. We have number, text, location, which is related to lat longs and addresses. We have Boolean, date. We have a list of text, which is like an array of strings. We have image, signature, and file. Customer name is a simple text field, so we're going to choose text here. And we can provide some default value if it's applicable. The customer name may not have a default value, so we're going to leave this empty. And then we have two options which we can select or deselect. The first one is mandatory. Mandatory means that wherever this data field is used, there needs to be a value available in this data field. Otherwise, the system will put a restriction saying that you can't proceed ahead. So for customer name, we're not going to use this. The second one is show during task phase. What does this mean? The same home service case or a field sales case which we discussed about, let's say the person is going towards the customer's location. That's a task. The salesperson needs to know what the customer's name is. So that customer name needs to be provided as an input to the task. So by checking this box, we tell the system that this data point is an input to the task. So collect this data point at the time of task creation. So whether you create the task via APIs or bulk CSV upload or during a single form, this data field will be asked as an input for that particular task. Now that we are done, simply click create, and you have the new data field available over here. So once it is available, we can go ahead and use it in our application. So how do we do that? So one example is open the app, choose the field. So we can manually enter the data field. Let's say task.data, and the customer name automatically appears. I can do this. I can also use the data fields in some complicated expression. So I open the expression box and I can use the data field, and I can even do some manipulation over here. This is for some other thing. Also, the data, this is to read the data. Let's say we want to write the signature value into certain data fields. So we can save the data into the data field. So I click here, it shows all the available options. Now there is no option to store signature because the system looks for a specific matching type data field. In this case, we don't have one. So we can create a new data field from here. So click here. Click here. Signature field. The system automatically recommends signature as a data type because you chose the signature component. So click on create. Now whatever signature is collected over here will get saved in the data field, which you can use later. Data fields can also be used in actions and guards, where we can use the same format whatever we used in the text display. So just enter the data field over here, and whatever the value of customer name is, it will automatically appear in this particular field.